What's gravy, baby? Welcome to another edition of Trey Talk Saints. Appreciate y'all for stopping through. This video we going over the new head coach hire in Kellen Moore. Also, the OCs that he has recently appointed. Offensive coordinator Doug Nussmeier and the defensive coordinator and Brandon Staley. So we're going to pretty much go over these coaching hires that the Saints have made. What are we expecting out of the future out of these hires as it goes for Kellen Moore, Doug Nussmeier, and also Brandon Staley? What are we going to be expecting out of these three coaches? Some other minor moves that they've also made in terms of the coaching staff. You know, we bought back old running backs coach that we used to have. They filled out some other staff positions as well, mainly on the offensive side of the ball. But, that's pretty much the gist of this, what I feel about these coaching hires and what I expect them to do for us. So if you guys haven't checked out any of the other Trade Talk Saints podcasts that I have here on the channel, go ahead, man, and check out the playlist. I got that down in the playlist on the channel. Plenty of different episodes I've had, like doing some post-game talk about the Saints games and just news and important updates just like this one. All right, so let's get right into it. Left side, if you don't know, illustrations. Right side, clipboard, topics. Down at the bottom, the main title of the video. And let's get right into it. So you guys don't know, if you've been living under a rock, if you don't know nothing about the Saints, if you haven't been paying attention to the Saints, whatever the case may be, baby. If you don't know, Kellen Moore, new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. All right, new head coach, was just the offensive coordinator for the Super Bowl winning Eagles team. And how do I feel about this hire? It's a couple things that I feel. First off, being an offensive minded coach, I can't wait. Right now, where the league is headed, where the league has shifted at, dog, is pretty much if you can't put up points, you ain't winning the game. You hear me? Like, it does matter how good of a defense you have. That does matter. Don't get me wrong. It absolutely matters how good of a defense you have. But in this league, if you have a top defense, but your offense can't get you nothing, you were going to lose. And that's just how it is right now in this age of football. All right, we've seen that on many occasions that teams can have a good defense. Think about the Browns. They have a good defense, but they can't win a lot of games because the quarterback position has been in flux, been up and down. There's a decent amount of teams out there that have good defenses, but, their offense just haven't been comparable. I'm not talking about the Broncos right now, but think about the Broncos before Sean Payton and before Bo Nix. The defense was great. They just couldn't get enough production out of their offense. You hear me? So there's a decent amount of teams like that. Think about the Giants. The Giants defense actually isn't bad. They just can't get a goddamn thing out of their offense, dog. Same thing about the Jets. The Jets defense ain't too shabby, but the offense ain't been able to give them much. And that's a lot of teams. There's a decent amount of teams that's like that, bro. All right? So it used to be back in the day, you had to have a defense because, if you didn't have a defense, then you was pretty much screwed. Think about a prime example with Drew Brees in all of his heyday with the 5,000-yard seasons that he was having. The dude was putting up crazy, unforeseen numbers, dog. Crazy. Going out scoring 40, 50 points a game. But the defense was giving up the same amount of goddamn points. So if Drew Brees and the offense made one mistake, or if they went a drive or two without scoring, the game was over. It was a wrap. But now in the league, you have to have an offense that can put up numbers, bro. Because it feels like to me, that's just where the league has shifted. So having an offensive-minded coach, I feel like it's going to work out great for us. Because everywhere he has gone, he has put up pretty decent numbers. With the Cowboys, good numbers, okay? With the Chargers, good numbers. With the Cowboys, good numbers. He has had good production out of his offenses wherever he has went. So I'm going to just pop this up right here. These are just his stats this illustration of just pretty much his stats throughout the years that he has coached teams, okay, on the offensive side of the ball. So you just take a look at this, look at the Dallas rankings. You know, he was number 1 in point scoring in 2021, okay? 2022, number 4. 2019, number 6. In 2020 was 17. I don't know what happened in 2020, but it was 17, okay? There was a bad year for the offense that year. I'm not sure if Dak got hurt that season or whatever may happen in 2020, but that wasn't a very good year for, you know, his offense with the Dallas Cowboys. But look at 2029, look at 2021, look at 2022, top 6, and even had the highest scoring offense in 2021, okay? That's magnificent. You hear me? And then you go look at the rushing numbers. In those seasons where he had good offensive point production, rushing yards, top 10 in those 3 seasons. Okay? And then you go and look at the passing offense. All the first 3 years he was coach of the Dallas Cowboys, top 10 in passing yardage. Okay? And then he followed that up by having 3 more seasons that he was top 10 in passing touchdowns. You know what I'm saying? And then you can also see the correlation in rushing. Okay? It seems like when his offenses are the most productive is when they're running the ball good. When they have a decent amount of rushing yards. You know, rushing yards and just in general. When the rushing numbers are looking good, his teams usually have a pretty good, you know, overall good stats. So, in my opinion, when he's going to come to the Saints, he's the type of coach where he can have an offense that's predominantly focused on the pass. He can also have an offense that's predominantly focused on the run. He could do both of them. You know what I'm saying? Whichever team he goes to, he looks at that team. He said, all right, y'all O-line trash. All right, y'all running backs trash. All right, y'all receivers trash. All right, y'all quarterbacks not be that up to par. He looks at what's surrounding the team and he pretty much caters to the strengths. Okay? And that's pretty much what I'm looking forward for him to do, pretty much for the Saints. He's going to look at the team. He's going to see what we're the best at, what we're not the best at, and he's going to pretty much focus on our strong weaknesses, and he's going to try to deviate and follow, you know, pretty much how I want to put it. He's going to want to cover up those weaknesses and amplify our strengths. And you may ask, Trey, what the hell are the strengths of the Saints right now when it comes to the offensive side of the ball? I mean, God damn it. I mean, just using your playmakers to their best abilities. That's all that I can say. They have a specific set of playmakers that he has at his disposal, and he can use those playmakers till the wheels fall off. Because I can't sit here and say, oh, the Saints are a dominant run team. We've seen them have some good games running the ball, and that may be what it is. Alvin Kamara, and if they can find them or draft them another running back or get them another running back in the building, it probably will be the running game. But they have a deep shot playmaker in Rashid Shaheed. Also have a every down route runner, and also can burn you too in Chris Olave. And if they bring MVS back, which may be a good idea right now, you have another speedster that can do some things. So it's probably a team where you're going to run the ball and you're going to set up play actions. You're going to set up long bombs down the field. You know what I'm saying? Intermediate passes. Like, that's probably what it's going to be looking at. Setting up some screens for your fast speedster, for your explosive playmakers like Kamara, like Olave, like Shaheed, getting those guys into space, letting them make plays. You hear me? So that's pretty much where I feel like his offense is going to be predicated when it comes to the Saints. You also look at the Super Bowl, what he did in the offense. He scored 33 points, had 345 yards, and won the game. Okay? And this is without Saquon having a masterful game. Think about it, y'all. The key to the Eagles was pretty much Saquon carrying the load, Jalen Hurts pretty much being a game manager. You heard me? Like, dog, that was pretty much the philosophy of the whole season for Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts not making a lot of mistakes, managing the game, making throws when he needed to make it, but relying and putting all of, the eggs in the basket of Saquon Barkley. And he had pretty much an MVP season by doing that. And to come out in the Super Bowl when that bell cow, Saquon, didn't even get 50 damn yards rushing. And I went on the stand and said, hey, in the video I made the prediction, if they hold Saquon under 125 rushing, the Chiefs are going to win. And the dude didn't even run for 50. And the Eagles still won. That goes to the goddamn defense of the Eagles. So I was completely wrong about that take. And for Saquon not to have any rushing yards like that, dog, and still put up these numbers, that lets you know that Kellen Moore, if a game plan isn't working, he knows how to adjust. You hear that, guys? Adjusting. And that was a big flaw of our offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak. He was terrible at adjustments. He'll come out in the first half, the script looking nice, the script looking good. But when the defense came out in the second half and counterpunched, Clint Kubiak could not counterpunch back. And that was a big flaw with the Saints offense last season. Clint Kubiak was not good at making adjustments half to half. He just was not, guys. He wasn't. Just look at the play half to half. Either Saints would have a terrible first half and have a good second half, or the Saints would have a good first half and a terrible second half. That's pretty much what most of the season went, dog. Let's be honest with you. Or most of the game was just mediocre. The only consistent offensive weeks he had was the first 2 weeks. After that, it was either one good half, a bad other half, or mediocre the whole game. That's just what it was. But with Kellen Moore, we can see that if the game plan that he came into the game isn't fully working, he can pivot and he can actually make adjustments on the fly, which is something else that I'm looking forward to with this guy. With this guy right here, Kellen Moore. So, all in all, with the hire, I feel like with everybody up pretty much on the list for the job, I would say that, hey, listen, man, I say this was probably the best choice out of everybody. He was the highest. He probably had the highest. How do I want to put it, man? Out of any head coach candidate, he probably had the biggest momentum going for him. I can put it that way. Mike McCarthy would have been an okay hire. Aaron Glenn would have been okay as well. But after the season he had with the Eagles and the follow-up with the Super Bowl dominance, man, I can't say he probably had the highest possibility to be a head coach that a team was looking for. Okay? Like, you can't sit here and say any of these other teams that missed out on them, that didn't wait and hired their head coaches earlier. You couldn't tell me that if this dude, Kellen Moore, was looking or didn't make the Super Bowl and was, making more interviews, that he wouldn't be highly sought after. It just happens that he made the Super Bowl and wasn't really taking a lot of interviews like that, and pretty much we was like the main team he was really looking for. So being a young coach, I assume that he will have a long leash. He will be able to make mistakes. He will be able to grow as a first-time head coach with a rebuilding or retooling roster like we have. He should have a decent amount of leeway. Give him about 2 years to get his feet wet, 2 years to get his feet under him, and by that third year, we need to see a takeoff. That's just me. That's what I'm giving him. I'm giving him 2 years, and I feel like that's how long he should have. Give him 2 years to get some drafts under him, get some team moving pieces around him, get his coaching staff together, get everything organized the way he wants it to be. Give him 2 years to get it figured out. And by the third year, we should be able to see, okay, what type of coach can he really, really be by that third season? That's what I'm thinking about him. And another question is, are you getting rid of Derek Carr, Kellen Moore? Is that going to happen? We don't know. We saw in the presser. If you haven't listened, go listen to the presser. We heard in the presser how he talked about, hey, Derek Carr, he's a good quarterback, you know, in this league for this amount of years. I'm looking forward to working with him, yada, yada, yada. He said that about a couple times in the presser. He never straight out said that, hey, he's going to be the starting quarterback, guys. He's the future of the Saints, guys. He did not come out and say that at all about Derek Carr, guys. He did not say that. He never said he was the future. He never said he was going to be a starter. He always just kept saying that, hey, much respect to Derek Carr. He's been a good quarterback in this league for X amount of years. I can't wait to work for him. Can't wait to work with him. I'm excited about, you know, what we're going to do in the season, blah, 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 blah. Not once did he say this man was going to be the starter, though. Not once did he say he's going to be the future of this team, though. So Kellen Moore knows that, hey, I don't think I want this guy around. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that answer right there shows you, hey, he's on a team. I got to say some nice shit, but let's be real, dog. I don't want his ass on my team, bro. That's pretty much what Kellen Moore wanted to say. So I'm going to say it for him. You know, so let's go into the press conference. Hey, so Kellen Moore, Derek Carr, what's your feelings on Derek Carr being the starting quarterback for the team? What do you think is going to be the steps moving forward in terms of making Derek Carr the focal point and having him play his best football? You know, just what's your overall feelings about Derek Carr? Hey, let me be honest with you guys. I'm going to tell you like this, man. Derek Carr is fucking ass, all right? He's trash. He's ass. I respectfully pass, okay? I will sit up here and just say I want to say some nice shit. Hey, he's been a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback in this league. Hey, yada, yada, yada. But let's be honest, he's trash. This dude ain't been good since what? 2000 and whatever, the second year he was in the league when he had a MVP caliber season, and then he got injured. Ever since then, he's been ass. He hasn't made one playoff game, or actually, he hasn't won one playoff game. Sorry. We got quarterbacks in Jane Daniels that just came out as a rookie, and he already has more playoff wins than Derek Carr. He's already had probably a better season. He's had a better season than Derek Carr has ever had, and he's a rookie. We got a lot of quarterbacks out here playing way better than Derek Carr. He's trash. He's not our starting quarterback. I'm just saying right here. And honestly, I'm pushing to get his ass off the team. That's what I'm looking to do. I'm pushing to get him off the goddamn team before the season even starts. Trade his ass. Buy him out. Take the cap hit. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a shit? I don't want him on a goddamn team. He's ass. I don't want him. Let me just ride it out with Spencer Rattler for the year. Fuck it. I'll ride it out with Spencer Rattler. And, hey, we'll see if he has some potential, if he can be the future. And if not, hey, oh, well, we're going to draft a quarterback the next season. It is what it is. That's how I feel. And that was me being the unfiltered Kellen Moore right there, dog. You hear me? That's what Derek Carr, not Derek Carr, Kellen Moore. Hey, that's an unfiltered Kellen Moore. That's what he wanted to say, guys. And I'm going to just come out and say it for him, Kellen Moore. Don't worry about it, bro. I got you, baby. Don't worry. I said what you wanted to say. All right? So that's pretty much that with Kellen Moore. We go see what he's looking for in a team. Will he get Derek Carr up out of there? That'll show a lot. You know, what is he going to be looking for in terms of drafting? Does he want to go offense first? Does he want to go defense first? What does he want to start building on this team? Because I feel like we need help at every single damn position. The only position I can sit here and say that, hey, bro, maybe we don't need help right now, we can maybe hold off, I would say is maybe you can maybe hold off at cornerback for another year, and you can maybe hold off at like left or right tackle for another year. Okay? Those are the two positions that I can sit here and say, hey, left tackle, right tackle, we can work with. In our cornerback room, we can work with. But anywhere else, safety, D-line, linebacker, left guards, right guard, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, all those positions, we need something. So it's going to be very interesting seeing where he goes. I say D-line. This has always been my personal choice. If you can't get D-line, then I say, hey, get you a stud receiver that got some size to him. You know, that's just where I'm at right now. Those are the two that I'm going at. If you say, hey, Trey, we can't get a D-line, then go get you a big body wide receiver that can run, make contested catches, a la Michael Thomas type player, or maybe get a dominant running back that you can find. Get you a running back, bro. Go get Genty or somebody to pair with Alvin Kamara and have a crazy ass run game. You know what I'm saying? If you can't get D-line, that's where I'm going. He's an offensive coach, and I say, hey, F it. Go offense. If you can't get a D lineman, go offense. Or if a guy like Will Johnson falls on the board, go get him because he's probably going to be the best player available. So that's that. As far as the other hires, Doug Nussmeier, if you guys haven't seen, he is the new actual offensive coordinator, but we all know that Kellen Moore will be calling the plays. He made that abundantly clear in the presser that he will be calling the plays. So honestly, Doug Nussmeier is pretty much going to be the QB coach still. He's going to help Kellen Moore with playing offensive play calling, but he's also probably going to be the main QB coach as well. Okay, so you can see him pretty much still being a QB coach, but at the same time, he's also going to be somebody helping out Kellen Moore with offensive play calling. So he's probably going to be doing both roles essentially. And I think this is pretty important because he was with Kellen Moore with the Eagles. You know, I believe he was with them over at the Cowboys too, if I'm not mistaken. So he's kind of been the guy of Kellen Moore. And this guy, I mean, he has a son playing for LSU right now. You hear me? You know, so who knows? Maybe Nussmeier, the son, will be on the team in a couple seasons. Who the hell knows? That'll be a topic that we talk about. But this is just a hire that's just good because I feel like, you know, he has good track record with helping out QBs like Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott. So it seems like he works really good with Kellen Moore and their offenses. So I just feel like this is just going to be helpful for Kellen Moore to have a good, well-oiled machine when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. So that's all I pretty much got for Mr. Doug Nussmeier. And then we also go to the defensive coordinator. That's Brandon Staley. Used to be head coach for the Chargers, didn't go so well, but he was also the defensive coordinator as well, the head coach. So when you look at that, you may be like, okay, Trey, so maybe he just wasn't that good of a head coach and it was just too much for him. The head coaching and being the defensive coordinator at the same time, maybe it was just too much for him. Because you see with the 49ers, you know, he was an assistant with them and was pretty decent at helping them out. But he also was a DC with the Rams, which was really, really good. Really, really good. But he did have Aaron Donald, okay? But it was a good defense. So when you look at Brandon Staley, it can either go one or two ways. I feel like it's either going to be a shit show or it's going to be pretty good. I'm not going to see great. I don't see great when it comes to our defense and him being the defensive coordinator. I don't see great. But will he be competent? I think it's either going to be bad or it's going to be competent. That's what I feel like. Either probably middle of the pack defense or it's going to be a bad defense. That's pretty much what I see out of Brandon Staley, because we don't have a star on the defensive side of the ball. We just don't. Unfortunately, we don't. We don't have an outright star on the defensive side of the ball. We don't. So he won't have that to work with. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a head coach either. So he can focus directly, strictly on defense. So that's why I say it can either be a competent defense or it's going to be a trash defense. Okay? So We're going to kind of see what Brandon Staley has to offer. Hopefully it works out good for us. Hopefully it can work with the defensive roster that we have around. But I expect it either to be a competent defense or a trash defense. So, I mean, that's pretty much my thoughts on the hires when it comes to head coach Kellen Moore, a.k.a. Mr. Teeth is what they like to call him. I ain't gonna go in on him like that. I'm just excited to see what he does for the offensive side of the ball, what he decides to do during the draft, what he decides to do with the quarterback situation. I'm just excited to see. And Mickey Loomis, this is your last chance, Mickey Loomis. And if y'all don't know who Mickey Loomis is, he is the GM for the Saints. This is the last straw. If Mickey Loomis doesn't cut it now, after another, he vouched for Dennis Allen for a couple years, didn't work out, or a few years, didn't work out for Dennis Allen, didn't work out with the quarterback Dennis Allen brought over, and now you have a fresh start and able to get Kellen Moore and to try to revitalize the team. If it doesn't work out in these next few years, because I feel like this is actually going to buy Mickey Loomis a couple years. Because this being a young head coach, it gives him an excuse that, hey, he's a young head coach, bro. And our quarterback situation is looking a little funky. Hey, let's give it a few years, see how he does. So this honestly is probably bought Mickey Loomis 2 to 3 years extra, to be honest. Unless he just does something terrible when it comes to the draft or making salary cap decisions or whatever the case is, unless he does something horrific, then he's bought himself another couple years. So if it doesn't look like it's looking good after 2 or 3 years, Mickey Loomis, your ass is grass. Benson, you got to get him up out of here. Okay? You got to get him gone. So we go see what happens with the team, with the new OC and Doug Nussmeier, with the new DC and Brandon Staley, and with our new head coach Kellen Moore. I'm excited for the future of the Saints to see if we can build our way back up to prosperity, back up to a playoff team. I'm just looking forward to it, because right now we are honestly looking like the worst team in the NFC South. And I hate to say it, bro, but the way it's looking, every team, the Panthers, the Falcons, the goddamn Buccaneers, they all look like they have more promise than we currently do. But this is a new era, the Kellen Moore era. Let's see what he does. Any other news that comes out that's requiring a Saints or a Trey Talk Saints podcast, I will have it here live and direct. Any other things that y'all might want me to talk about, leave it down low in the comment section. Like I said, I'm just a dude that loves the Saints, that loves football, and whether this gets 5, 20, 50, 100, 1,000 views, I will be making these videos because I love talking about it and love giving my insight and input on my favorite NFL team, and hopefully you guys enjoy my insight. But hey, that's pretty much it. Till next time, y'all stay blessed, and of course, who dat?